Chainsaw, blades all running at full speed, and trust me, they know. Fear is a must to attain law. Part of the neck of the rest of the brain off. It's beautiful out in the country, especially when any others confront me. I'm feeling for blood, I'm hungry. Murder this track and you're trying to hunt me. You in the house, the family's waiting. Turning the dinner table, we've been craving. Dinner we're plating. You are the course, we are the killers.
This movie may be batshit insane, but it's so much fun, I don't fucking care. Like, if you want a horror movie that's just plain fun, that's not even scary, but it's just fun, this is the movie for you. It is very, very fun. Like, yes, this movie is wacky, yes, it's off the wall, yes, it is absolutely nothing like the original whatsoever. But it has its own unique aspects that make it worth watching. And even though the original is still the scariest, this one, I would argue, is the funniest. And I mean that as a positive. I'm not trying to bash the movie. So, yeah, this is easily the best of the sequels, and I'm going to tell you why. What's up? What's happening? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Animation Station. This is your favorite thing animation, including chainsaw-wielding maniacs that kill teenagers in the woods, and TV and movies. I'm your host, Jackson Small. Welcome to Return to 31 Days of Horror once again. Let's talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. A movie that is absolutely nothing like the original, but holy shit, it manages to almost be just as great in its own right. Now, let me get this out of the way right now. This movie's not scary, like, at all. It is absolutely not scary in the fucking slightest. But I think it actually has a stronger element that makes it just as great, almost as great as the original. Whereas the original was scary as hell, this one is just outright funny. Like, I cannot tell you how many times off the top of my head this movie made me laugh. And not in a way like, oh, this is so bad that you can't help but laugh. No, like, it's legitimately funny. It is surprisingly, ridiculously funny, and it's all because of one thing: the dark humor. It is so fucking good in this movie, and it's arguably one of the best uses of dark humor that I've seen in horror. It's a little hard to explain, but I hope my review can help you understand a little bit. So, without further ado or delay, here's my review of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, and why I think it's a great movie despite the fact that it's absolutely nothing like the original and not scary at all. Enjoy. Credit to Tobe Hooper. He didn't try to make the same film twice, which is commendable, and shows that even he himself knew he couldn't recapture that same effective horror as the first. However, he ended up veering in a completely different direction, as this film not only has pretty much no connection to the original despite being called Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, but also because it's pretty much a dark comedy that throws all horror out the window. Now, does that make it a bad movie? Honestly, no, but it is definitely inferior to the original. Pros: great acting. Whether it's Caroline Williams' Stretch or Bill Moseley's Chop Top, who is arguably just as, if not even more iconic than Leatherface himself, or Dennis Hopper just being the over-the-top, wild, batshit insane actor that he is. Like, all the acting in this movie's great. Everyone's great, everyone's enjoyable, and no one comes off as just boring slasher fodder. Thank fuck, after the last movie we needed that. Amazing gore and practical effects by Tom Savini. Yes, the same guy who helped with Friday the 13th. And you get that kind of gore here, and it is extremely satisfying. Now, there are a few off-screen deaths, and they can be a little disappointing, especially towards the end, but there's still a healthy heaping amount of gore in here to keep any gore hounds interested. Like, you have someone skinned alive, you have someone getting their head sawed in half while driving. Like, there is gore in this movie. It's just not super over the top. Excellent directing from Tobe Hooper. A lot of surprisingly funny moments. Like I said, this movie is arguably one of the funniest horror movies I've ever seen, because the comedy is so dark and fucked up, but yet it works so well. It's really hard to explain. You just have to see it for yourself. This movie is fucking hilarious. A very nutty finale. This movie's finale is absolutely bonkers. Incredible set design, a faster pace, a brisk runtime, very entertaining characters. There's no weak point in the characters this time, which is nice. and pretty high rewatchability. However, we can't get around the biggest con of this movie that's going to keep it inferior to the first, and that is that it is not scary at all. If you come into this movie expecting to be scared shitless like the original, that's the wrong mindset, because that's not what this movie is. This movie is a dark comedy that just happens to have a lot of blood and guts. It's not scary, like, at all. Like, there's some scary imagery because of the gore, but outside of that, it's not scary. It's over the top, bonkers, and more funny than anything. And usually that's a bad thing in your horror movie, but I think in this case it actually kind of works. And some of the jokes are pretty hit or miss. There are a few lines of dialogue here and there that do leave me scratching my head a little bit. Also, the ice tub scene is... the ice tub scene's a little problematic, if you get my drift. Overall, though, this movie is very silly, but a damn good time. Yes, it's not effective as a horror movie at all, and I can understand those who find it a complete mockery of the original, but I just can't bring myself to hate it, because it's so entertaining and off-the-wall bonkers. It's divisive for sure, but I think it has much to appreciate. Like, is it better than this? No, this is the better horror movie. But in terms of just being a dark, silly comedy, I think that's where this movie shines. Like, this movie, it is dark, it is gory, and it is fucking over-the-top, batshit insane hilarious. And because of that, it kind of gives it its own unique charm that helps it stand out from the original rather than just being a straight copy. And again, huge props to Tobe Hooper for actually doing something different, because even he himself knew that he just could not recapture what the original did. Which is something I wish all the other fucking sequels took a hint from. But no, of course they didn't. But we'll get there when we get there. Final verdict for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2 is going to be a divisive, but 100% honest. 8 out of 10. I think this is a great movie. I think it's a funny as hell movie, and I think that you are going to really enjoy it if you go into it with the right mindset. If you go in expecting a movie to scare you shitless, you're going to be disappointed. But if you go in expecting an over-the-top, bonkers, off-the-wall comedy, that's where this movie succeeds. I mean, the poster's literally a funny homage to The Breakfast Club. Need I say more? Unfortunately, though, we gotta turn that smile upside down into a frown, because now we gotta talk about the rest of the movies, which aren't good. Fuck. Oh well. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos like this one every single day. And we'll begin our descendance into terribleness with Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 3.